The Council's mockery and the stirring of a relic. In the grand expanse of the Galactic Council's military museum, representatives from across the galaxy gathered, their voices echoing in the cavernous hall. The museum, a testament to the myriad civilizations that had once roamed the stars, displayed a collection of relics from different eras. Among these artifacts stood the Indomitable, a battered human warship, its once proud hull now marred by time and battle scars. As the representatives wandered among the exhibits, their laughter filled the air. They gazed at the Indomitable with a mixture of disdain and amusement. Cran, the Vulcan diplomat with an air of superiority, led the tour. His orange eyes gleamed with a mocking glint as he gestured towards the ship. "Behold," Crown said with a smirk, "a quaint example of humanity's early attempts at space warfare. Note the lack of even basic energy shielding and those crude chemical propulsion missiles." The dignitaries chuckled, their voices carrying the unmistakable tone of derision. Nathan Allen, a historian specializing in early human space exploration, stood among them, his fists clenched at his sides, barely containing his anger. As a distant descendant of the Indomitable's original commander, he knew the ship's history intimately. He understood the brilliance and ingenuity behind its design. It had held its own against far superior foes, a testament to human resilience and determination. Despite his frustration, Nathan chose to remain silent. Humanity, being the newest and most junior member of the Galactic Council, could not afford to provoke a diplomatic incident. His species was vulnerable, and any misstep could jeopardize Earth's position in the galaxy. Still, Nathan couldn't help but wish the Indomitable could roar back to life and show these arrogant aliens what a human ship could do. Suddenly, the piercing wail of an alarm cut through the museum's calm. The sound reverberated off the metal hulls of the ships on display, drawing everyone's attention. A Galactic Council security officer burst into the room, his green skin paling with urgency. "Ambassadors, we have an emergency situation," he panted. "A Zorth raiding fleet just dropped out of hyperspace on the edge of the system. They're headed straight for the station." Cran's eyes widened, his previous arrogance vanishing. "Have you hailed them?" he demanded. The officer shook his head, his expression grim. "They're ignoring all hails. Our defense fleet is scrambling to respond, but they were caught off guard during scheduled maintenance. We may not be able to hold them off." Panic swept through the room. The Zorth, known for their barbarity and refusal to join the Galactic Council, were notorious for raiding and plundering. Their cruelty was legendary, and their disregard for civilized warfare made them a formidable enemy. As the chaos unfolded around him, Nathan's mind raced. He knew that if the Zorth broke through, the station, and possibly Earth, would be in grave danger. An idea began to form in Nathan's mind. He pushed his way through the crowd until he reached Cran. The Vulcan diplomat, now frazzled and barking orders into his communicator, turned to him with a scowl. "What do you want, human? Can't you see we're in the middle of a crisis?" Nathan stood his ground, meeting Cran's gaze with a determined look. "I have a proposal. The Indomitable may be old, but she's still got teeth. Let me take her out there and buy you some time until your defense fleet can get here." Cran stared at him incredulously before bursting into harsh laughter. "You must be joking. That ancient hulk is no match for a Zorth raiding fleet. It would be suicide." Nathan didn't flinch. He took a step closer, his voice low but firm. "With respect, Ambassador, you underestimate human ingenuity and bravery. The Indomitable has faced worse odds and come out on top. Right now, she's the only ship standing between you and a Zorth boarding party." Cran's face twisted with conflicting emotions. He glanced at the Indomitable, the ship he had mocked only moments before. Another explosion rocked the station, nearly knocking him off his feet. Alarms blared, and the room was filled with the panicked shouts of dignitaries. Cran gritted his teeth. "Fine," he snapped, turning to Nathan. "I'm coming with you. I don't trust a human to handle this alone." Nathan nodded, a surge of relief washing over him. Having someone familiar with modern space combat tactics would only help. "Follow me," he said, already moving towards the Indomitable at a run. As they boarded the ship, Nathan was met by his small crew, hastily assembled from museum staff. Their faces were a mix of fear and determination. Nathan quickly briefed them on the situation. "The Indomitable may be old," he explained, "but she has some tricks up her sleeve. Her hull is made from a rare alloy that's incredibly durable and resistant to the kind of weapons the Zorth use. It's not as advanced as modern energy shields, but it'll hold up." Crayon, strapping himself into a seat on the bridge, raised an eyebrow. "And the cloaking device?" Nathan nodded. "Yes, I know it's banned technology now, but the Indomitable was built in a different time." The ship hummed to life as its ancient engines roared. Nathan felt a thrill run through him as he took the captain's chair. The Indomitable emerged from the museum hangar, the vastness of space filling the view screen. Despite himself, Crayon was impressed by the efficiency of the human crew as they prepared for battle. They may be using outdated technology, but they knew their ship inside and out. Nathan plotted a course towards the approaching Zorth fleet and engaged the cloaking device. The Indomitable shimmered and vanished from view. "Here's the plan," Nathan said, his voice calm and steady. "We use the cloak to get in close, then hit them hard and fast. We aim for their engines and weapons, try to disable as many ships as we can. We just need to keep them occupied until the defense fleet arrives." As they drew closer to the Zorth fleet, the tension on the bridge was palpable. Nathan took a deep breath, his hand hovering over the controls for the ship's most powerful weapon. A massive rail gun capable of accelerating a projectile to a fraction of the speed of light. "All right, people," he said, his eyes narrowing. "Let's show these Zorth what a primitive human ship can do." The Indomitable shimmered into view, right in the heart of the Zorth formation. The alien ships scrambled to react, their crews caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the human vessel. Nathan's fingers flew across the controls, his eyes locked on the targeting display. The railgun hummed with power, its barrel glowing a dull red. He slammed his hand down on the firing button, and the ship shuddered as the weapon discharged. The recoil reverberated through the hull. On the view screen, the projectile, a slug of super-dense metal, lanced out towards the Lid Zorth ship. It tore through the alien vessel's shields, punching a gaping hole clean through its center. Secondary explosions erupted, and the ship listed, venting atmosphere and debris. Cheers erupted on the Indomitable's bridge. Nathan allowed himself a fierce grin, even as he searched for his next target. The Zorth were recovering from their initial shock, their ships moving to encircle the human intruder. Energy beams and missiles flashed towards the Indomitable, but the ancient hull held strong. Nathan felt a surge of pride. The old ship still had it where it counted. Suddenly, a console exploded in a shower of sparks. Warning lights flashed, and more systems began to fail. Nathan cursed under his breath. The Indomitable's defenses were holding for now, but her offensive capabilities were severely limited. They couldn't maintain this level of combat for long. Captain Cran's voice cut through the chaos. "I'm monitoring the Zorth communications. They're calling for reinforcements. We've got their attention, but now we're really in trouble." Nathan's mind raced. The Indomitable, despite her resilience, couldn't hope to win against the full might of a Zorth fleet. But maybe they didn't need to win. Maybe they just needed to buy time and keep the aliens focused on them. An idea formed, a desperate gamble. He turned to his communications officer. Open a channel on all frequencies. Make sure the Zorth can hear this. The officer nodded, hands flying over the controls. The channel opened. Nathan took a breath and spoke, his voice steady and full of confidence. This is Captain Nathan Allen of the Earth ship Indomitable. We have engaged the Zorth fleet and have them on the run. Any ships in range, your assistance is requested. Come and join the hunt. He signed off, leaning back in his chair. Cran stared at him incredulously. Are you insane? There are no other ships in range, and now the Zorth know we're alone. Nathan met his gaze with a small smile. They don't know that. And even if they suspect it, they now know that a single ancient human ship is a threat to them. That's got to hurt their pride. I'm betting they'll be more focused on taking us down than continuing their attack on the station. Crown shook his head, but there was a glimmer of understanding in his eyes. You're playing a dangerous game, Captain. Nathan nodded. I know, but it's the only game we've got. As the Zorth ships closed in, the Indomitable continued to unleash its fury, its railgun firing with relentless precision. The battle raged on, the outcome uncertain. But in that moment, Nathan knew that despite the odds, they were doing everything they could to protect their allies and buy the time needed for the defense fleet to arrive. Secrets revealed, and the fallen Relic. As the battle with the Zorth fleet continued, the Indomitable took heavy damage. Nathan and Cran fought side by side, their efforts barely holding back the advancing alien forces. The old ship's systems were straining under the pressure, and the crew worked tirelessly to keep the ship operational. Suddenly, an explosion shook the bridge, and the lights flickered. Nathan's heart sank as he realized that the Indomitable's cloaking device had been critically damaged. The ship was now visible to the Zorth fleet, and their fire intensified. Cran's voice was grim as he pointed to the readout on the control panel. We've lost our cloaking capability. They're going to tear us apart now. Nathan clenched his jaw. We need to keep them distracted. Push forward. We can't let them regroup. As they fought desperately, Nathan noticed something strange on the sensors, a faint signal coming from an ancient storage bay deep within the Indomitable. It was an old distress beacon, a relic from a forgotten era. Nathan knew that this signal could be a trap, but it might also be something valuable. Crayon, Nathan called out, I need you to cover me. I'm going to check something out. Crown looked at him, a mix of skepticism and reluctant admiration in his eyes. Be careful, human. Nathan made his way through the ship, his path illuminated by the strobing red emergency lights. He reached the storage bay and pried open the access hatch. Inside, he found an old storage locker, its surface coated in dust. He opened it and pulled out a small ancient device, a communication relay used during the early days of space exploration. The device was still functional, its display flickering to life. Nathan's eyes widened as he realized what he was looking at. The device contained a message, one that had been encoded and left hidden for decades. As Nathan decoded the message, he discovered something astonishing. It was a transmission from a long-lost expedition, detailing a hidden weapon system that had been abandoned and left on the Indomitable. It was a powerful energy cannon, one that could potentially turn the tide of the battle. Nathan's heart raced. If he could activate this weapon, it might give them the edge they needed. He quickly began to work on integrating the weapon's controls with the ship's systems. It was a complex task, and he had to rely on old schematics and his knowledge of the ship's design. Back on the bridge, Cran's patience was wearing thin. "We're getting hammered out here. Are you coming back, or what?" Nathan's voice crackled through the intercom. "I found something. An old weapon system that could be our salvation. I'm bringing it online now." The process was excruciatingly slow, but Nathan's determination never wavered. The weapon system slowly came online, its power levels rising. As he completed the final adjustments, he rejoined Cran on the bridge. The Indomitable's new weapon system roared to life. Nathan aimed it at the largest Zorth ship and fired. A massive beam of energy shot forth, slicing through the alien vessel's defenses and causing it to explode in a spectacular fireball. The other Zorth ships faltered, their coordination disrupted by the sudden loss of their flagship. With their command structure in disarray, the remaining Zorth ships were easier to handle. The defense fleet arrived just in time to mop up the remnants of the raiding party. The battle was won, and the station was safe. As the Indomitable limped back to the museum, the crew was exhausted but victorious. The damage to the ship was extensive, but it had held up against the Zorth attack. Nathan and Cran stood together, surveying the aftermath. Cran extended a hand to Nathan, his earlier arrogance replaced by genuine respect. "You were right, Captain. The Indomitable proved herself today. Perhaps we underestimated the potential of your ancient technology." Nathan shook Cran's hand, a tired smile on his face. "Sometimes it's not just about technology. It's about the people who use it." The two of them watched as the Indomitable was escorted back to the museum hangar. The ship had proven its worth once again, and its legacy was no longer seen as a mere relic. It had shown that even the most outdated technology could still make a difference in the face of overwhelming odds. As the repairs began and the crew took stock of the damage, Nathan knew that the Indomitable's story was far from over. The ship had earned its place in history, and its lessons would continue to inspire future generations. But Nathan's journey was far from finished. There were still secrets to uncover and challenges to face. The Indomitable had been a symbol of humanity's past, but it was also a reminder of the potential that lay in the future. And as long as there were battles to be fought and histories to be written, Nathan Allen would be there, ready to face whatever came next. Echoes of the past and unseen threats. As the Indomitable settled back into its place within the military museum, the aftermath of the Zorth raid left its mark on the once pristine exhibits. The damage was extensive, but the ship had emerged victorious, and its crew had been hailed as heroes. The Galactic Council convened an emergency meeting to discuss the implications of the recent attack and to review their defense strategies. In the days that followed, Nathan Allen was invited to speak at the council session. The room was filled with representatives from various species, all gathered to address the crisis. The mood was tense, and the air was thick with the urgency of the situation. Nathan stood before the assembled dignitaries, his uniform slightly disheveled but his demeanor resolute. Cran, seated among the council members, gave Nathan a nod of encouragement. The Vulcan diplomat had become an unexpected ally, and their mutual respect was evident. "Esteemed council members," Nathan began, his voice steady, "the recent attack by the Zorth raiders was a wake-up call for us all. It's clear that our current defenses were insufficient to handle such a threat. The Indomitable, though outdated, proved that even older technology, when used with skill and determination, can make a difference." The council members listened intently as Nathan detailed the battle and the unexpected discovery of the hidden weapon. He spoke of the need for a comprehensive review of the Council's defense capabilities and the importance of integrating newer technologies with older systems. However, Nathan continued, the raid was not just a random attack. It was a calculated move by the Zorth, and it's likely that they have more plans in motion. We must not only strengthen our defenses, but also consider the possibility of further incursions. As Nathan finished his presentation, the council began to deliberate. The discussions were animated, with several representatives advocating for increased funding for defense projects and a re-evaluation of their security protocols. It was clear that the Zorth threat had galvanized the council into action. Nathan returned to the museum, where the Indomitable was undergoing extensive repairs. Despite the ship's condition, there was a sense of pride among the crew. The Indomitable had proven its worth, and its legacy had been reaffirmed. One evening, as Nathan was inspecting the ship's progress, Crayon approached him. The Vulcan diplomat had a serious expression on his face. "Captain Allen, I need to speak with you privately." Nathan led Crayon to a quiet corner of the hangar, away from the bustling activity. "What's on your mind, Ambassador?" Crayon's orange eyes were filled with concern. "During the council meeting, I accessed some restricted information related to the Zorth. It appears that their raid was part of a larger plan, one that involves more than just plundering our resources." Nathan's brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" Crayon glanced around to ensure they were alone before continuing. "The Zorth have been gathering allies from outside our known galaxy, groups that have been previously unknown to us. They're forming a coalition with these new factions, and their goal is to destabilize the Galactic Council." Nathan's eyes widened. "A coalition. That's far more dangerous than just isolated raids." Crayon nodded. "Indeed. The Zorth are seeking to exploit divisions and weaknesses within the Council. If they succeed, it could lead to widespread chaos and conflict." Nathan's mind raced. The implications of such a coalition were staggering. The stability of the entire galaxy could be at risk. "What can we do to counter this threat?" Crayon took a deep breath. "We need to gather intelligence on these new factions and understand their motivations and capabilities. We must also strengthen alliances and improve our interspecies cooperation. The Council's current approach is reactive. We need a proactive strategy." Nathan agreed. "I'll do what I can to assist in gathering information and bolstering alliances. But we need to act quickly. If the Zorth and their allies are preparing for a larger assault, we might not have much time." The two of them began to devise a plan. Nathan would leverage his knowledge of the Indomitable systems and his connections within the human military to gather intelligence. Crayon would use his diplomatic skills to strengthen ties with other council members and forge new alliances. As the days passed, Nathan and Crayon worked tirelessly. They traveled to various planets and space stations, meeting with officials and gathering data. Their efforts began to pay off as they uncovered valuable information about the Zorth Coalition and their plans. One evening, while analyzing intercepted transmissions from the Zorth, Nathan received a message from an old acquaintance, a retired military strategist named Admiral Sarek. The message was cryptic but urgent. "Captain Allen, I have information that could change everything. Meet me on the lunar base at once." Nathan and Crayon traveled to the lunar base, a secluded facility orbiting Earth. There they met with Admiral Sarek, a grizzled veteran with a reputation for unconventional tactics. "Admiral Sarek," Nathan greeted him. "What's the information you have for us?" Sarek's face was lined with concern. "I've been analyzing the Zorth's communication patterns and their recent activities. It appears they've been searching for something hidden deep within their territory. I believe it's a weapon, or perhaps a technology that could give them a significant advantage. Crayon's eyes narrowed. A weapon? Do we know what kind? Sarek shook his head. Not precisely. But if the Zorth are seeking it, it's likely something of great strategic value. We must find out what it is and secure it before they can use it against us. Nathan nodded. What's our next step? Sarek handed Nathan a data disk. This contains the coordinates of a Zorth facility that might hold the key to understanding their plans. We need to investigate it and determine the nature of their search. Nathan and Crayon studied the coordinates, their minds racing with possibilities. If they could uncover the nature of the Zorth's search, they might be able to prevent a devastating new weapon from falling into their hands. With renewed determination, Nathan and Crayon prepared for their next mission. They knew that time was of the essence, and the fate of the galaxy might hinge on their ability to stay one step ahead of the Zorth and their mysterious allies. As they set out on their journey, Nathan couldn't help but feel a sense of urgency. The Indomitable had already proven its worth, but now they were facing a threat that could change the course of history. The relics of the past and the secrets of the present were intertwined, and the choices they made would determine the future of their galaxy. The hunt for the hidden weapon. Nathan, Allen, and Crayon prepared for their most critical mission yet. The coordinates provided by Admiral Sarek pointed to a remote Zorth facility located in an asteroid belt at the edge of their known space. The facility was rumored to be heavily fortified, and the environment was treacherous. The Indomitable had been refurbished as much as possible given the limited time. Despite the ship's age, Nathan and his crew were confident in its capabilities. As they approached the coordinates, the asteroid belt loomed ahead, a chaotic field of spinning rocks and debris. Crayon reviewed the mission plan. We need to approach with extreme caution. The asteroid belt is a natural defense, but it also makes navigation difficult. We'll need to use the Indomitable's stealth systems to avoid detection. Nathan nodded. Understood. Let's make sure all systems are in optimal condition and prepare for possible resistance. The crew worked diligently, and soon the Indomitable was ready. The ship entered the asteroid belt, its stealth systems activated. The crew navigated through the perilous field, relying on advanced sensors and precise maneuvers to avoid collisions. As they neared the facility, Nathan activated the ship's cloaking device. The facility was a massive structure built into an asteroid, with energy shields and defensive turrets scanning the area. Nathan took a deep breath. We'll need to find a way inside without triggering their defenses. Crayon examined the facility's layout on the ship's display. There's an access port on the far side of the facility. It appears to be less guarded. We can attempt an infiltration there. The Indomitable carefully maneuvered into position, avoiding the facility's sensors. Nathan piloted the ship to the access port, which led to a maintenance tunnel. The ship's cloaking device ensured they remained undetected. Once they were in position, Nathan and Crayon suited up in stealth gear. They prepared to enter the facility through a small hatch, careful not to alert the guards stationed outside. Inside the facility, the air was cool and sterile. The facility was a maze of corridors and rooms, filled with advanced technology and Zorth personnel. Nathan and Crayon moved quietly, using their training and equipment to bypass security measures. As they ventured deeper into the facility, they encountered a series of data terminals. Crayon used his expertise to hack into the system, extracting information about the facility's operations and the Zorth's objectives. According to this data, Crayon said, the Zorth have been searching for an ancient artifact, something they believe will give them an edge in their conflict with the Galactic Council. It's referred to as the Eclipse Relic. Nathan's eyes widened. The Eclipse Relic. I've heard rumors of such an artifact, but I thought it was just a legend. Crown nodded. It appears the Zorth have found credible evidence of its existence. They believe it's hidden somewhere in this facility. The information led them to a secure vault within the facility. Nathan and Crayon approached the vault's entrance, which was heavily guarded. They needed to find a way to bypass the security and gain access. Crayon examined the security system. I can override the access codes, but it will take a few minutes. We need to ensure that we're not interrupted. Nathan set up a perimeter around the vault, ready to deal with any potential threats. As Crayon worked on the security override, the tension in the air was palpable. Finally, the vault door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside the vault, they found a series of containers and crates, each meticulously labeled. Among them, they located a small, ornately decorated box, likely the Eclipse Relic. Nathan carefully examined the box, noting its intricate design and the strange symbols etched into its surface. Crayon's eyes were wide with awe. This must be it. We need to secure it and get back to the Indomitable before the Zorth discover we've been here. Nathan nodded in agreement. They carefully transported the relic back to the Indomitable, making sure to avoid detection. As they made their way through the facility, they encountered a few close calls, but their stealth gear and careful planning allowed them to avoid any major conflicts. Once they were safely aboard the Indomitable, Nathan and Crayon breathed a sigh of relief. The ship's engines roared to life as they made their way out of the asteroid belt, leaving the Zorth facility behind. Back at the military museum, the Eclipse Relic was placed in a secure containment chamber for further examination. The relic's true purpose and capabilities were yet to be fully understood, but its importance was undeniable. The Galactic Council convened to discuss the findings. Nathan and Crayon presented their report, explaining the significance of the Eclipse Relic and the Zorth's intentions. The council members listened attentively. "We must analyze this relic thoroughly," one of the council representatives said. "If the Zorth are seeking it, it must be of immense value." Nathan and Crayon were tasked with overseeing the analysis of the relic and continuing their efforts to uncover any additional threats posed by the Zorth and their allies. As the days passed, Nathan and Crayon worked closely with scientists and analysts to unlock the secrets of the Eclipse Relic. The relic's mysteries began to unfold, revealing ancient technologies and powerful capabilities that could potentially shift the balance of power in the galaxy. The Zorth's coalition remained a looming threat, and the Galactic Council's efforts to strengthen defenses and build alliances were more critical than ever. Nathan and Crayon knew that their mission was far from over. The relic might hold the key to the galaxy's future, and they were determined to ensure that it would not fall into the wrong hands. Their journey had only just begun, and the echoes of the past and the unseen threats of the present would continue to shape the fate of their galaxy. The Eclipse Relic's secrets. The analysis of the Eclipse Relic was a complex and time-consuming process. The containment chamber was a high-security area within the military museum, guarded and monitored at all times. Scientists and experts from various fields were brought in to decipher the relic's mysteries, and Nathan and Crayon worked alongside them. Dr. Ilara Miles, an esteemed archaeologist and expert in ancient technology, led the analysis team. She meticulously examined the relic's inscriptions and mechanisms. "This relic appears to be more than just a technological artifact," she noted. "It seems to be a key of sorts, designed to unlock something far greater." Crayon, intrigued by the findings, asked, "What do you mean by a key?" Dr. Miles explained, The symbols and patterns on the relic suggest it could be linked to an ancient network or system. There might be hidden locations or artifacts that it's meant to interact with. If we can identify its purpose, we might understand what the Zorth are truly after. Nathan and Crayon delved deeper into the relic's analysis, using their skills and resources to uncover its secrets. They discovered that the relic contained a series of encoded messages, which hinted at its connection to an ancient civilization known as the Harnais. The Harnais were a legendary race mentioned in old texts and myths, said to have created powerful technologies before vanishing from history. The more they learned, the clearer it became that the Eclipse relic was a part of a much larger puzzle. One evening, while reviewing the latest findings, Crayon discovered a hidden compartment within the relic. Inside, they found a data crystal containing detailed star maps and coordinates. The maps pointed to several locations scattered across the galaxy, each marked with the Harnais symbol. "This is incredible," Crayon said, examining the data crystal. "These coordinates could lead us to ancient Harnais sites, potentially filled with more artifacts or information." Nathan was determined. "We need to follow these leads. The Zorth are actively searching for this relic, and they must be after whatever else is out there. We need to stay ahead of them." The Galactic Council approved their new mission: to explore the locations indicated by the relic and uncover any additional Harnais artifacts. Nathan, Crayon, and Dr. Miles prepared for the journey, gathering the necessary supplies and resources. Their first destination was a remote planet on the edge of the known galaxy. The planet, known as Solara, had been largely unexplored and was known for its harsh environmental conditions. The coordinates from the data crystal pointed to a location on the planet's surface where an ancient Harnais structure was believed to be hidden. The Indomitable, equipped for deep space travel and planetary exploration, made its way to Solara. As they approached the planet, Nathan and Crayon prepared for a challenging landing. The planet's atmosphere was thick with storm clouds, and the surface was covered in rugged terrain. They landed the Indomitable in a relatively stable area and made their way to the coordinates. The journey across the planet's surface was arduous, with dangerous weather and treacherous terrain. The team's equipment and training were put to the test as they navigated through the stormy conditions. After hours of navigating the harsh environment, they finally arrived at the entrance of the ancient Harnais structure. The entrance was partially buried under debris, but was unmistakable with its distinctive Harnais symbols. Inside, they found a series of chambers filled with ancient technology and artifacts. The structure was a repository of Harnais knowledge, containing advanced machinery and data storage devices. Dr. Miles was ecstatic as she examined the artifacts. These devices appear to be incredibly advanced, even by our standards. There's a wealth of information here. As they explored further, they came across a central chamber with a large, elaborate control panel. The panel was linked to a series of holographic displays that projected images and data about the Harnais civilization and their technologies. Crayon analyzed the control panel, trying to decipher its functions. This control panel might provide answers about how the Harnais used their technology and what they were trying to achieve. Dr. Miles operated the controls, and the holographic displays revealed a series of detailed star maps, similar to the ones on the data crystal. The maps indicated the locations of other Harnais structures and artifacts, as well as information about their experiments and discoveries. Among the revelations was a warning message from the Harnais. It spoke of a catastrophic event that had led to their disappearance, and a warning to future civilizations about the dangers of misusing their technology. Nathan understood the gravity of the situation. "We need to ensure that this technology doesn't fall into the wrong hands." The Zorth and other factions could misuse it, and that could lead to disastrous consequences. The team gathered as much information and as many artifacts as they could, preparing to leave Solara. They returned to the Indomitable and made their way back to the Galactic Council to report their findings. The Council was alarmed by the warning from the Harnais and the potential implications of the technology. They decided to increase their efforts to secure and protect the ancient Harnais sites and to monitor the activities of the Zorth closely. Nathan, Crayon, and Dr. Miles were assigned to continue their exploration of the remaining coordinates and to ensure that the knowledge and technology of the Harnais were safeguarded. As they prepared for their next mission, Nathan reflected on the journey ahead. The quest to uncover the secrets of the Harnais and to protect the galaxy from potential threats was far from over. The future was uncertain, but they were determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that their actions would shape the fate of the galaxy. The Sentinel's warning. With their new mission set, Nathan, Crayon, and Dr. Miles continued their exploration of the Harnais artifacts. Their next destination was a remote star system known as the Terrian Rift, which was notorious for its unstable gravitational anomalies and treacherous space travel conditions. According to the star maps, this system housed another significant Harnais site. The Indomitable navigated the hazardous space around the Terrian Rift, employing advanced navigational systems and shielding to protect against gravitational distortions. The journey through the rift was perilous, but the crew managed to reach the outer edge of the system, where the coordinates indicated the presence of an ancient Harnais structure on a small rocky planet named Tharnis. Tharnis was a bleak and desolate world, characterized by its barren landscape and frequent seismic activity. The landing was difficult, and the team was forced to anchor the Indomitable securely to withstand the planet's tremors. As they disembarked, they could feel the vibrations through their boots and the constant shuddering of the ground beneath them. The Harnais structure on Tharnis was partially hidden within a deep canyon, shielded from view by rocky outcroppings. As they approached the entrance, they were met with an eerie silence, broken only by the distant rumble of seismic activity. The entrance was adorned with intricate Harnais symbols, similar to those found on Solara, but this structure seemed to be more heavily fortified. Inside the structure, they encountered a series of high-tech security mechanisms, including energy fields and automated defenses. Dr. Miles noted that these defenses were designed to prevent unauthorized access and protect the valuable knowledge contained within. After careful navigation and deactivation of the security systems, the team accessed the inner chambers. The structure was filled with advanced Harnais technology, including what appeared to be a large control nexus at the center. The nexus was surrounded by a complex array of holographic displays and ancient data storage devices. As Nathan and Crayon examined the control nexus, they activated a series of holographic projections that revealed a hidden chamber beneath the structure. This chamber contained an unusual artifact, a large crystalline object that emitted a faint, pulsating energy. Dr. Miles approached the artifact with reverence. This artifact seems to be a beacon of sorts. The Harnais may have used it to communicate or transmit information across vast distances. The holographic displays provided further insights into the artifact's purpose. It was identified as the Sentinel, a device created by the Harnais to monitor and respond to significant cosmic events. According to the projections, the Sentinel was designed to alert the Harnais to any major threats or disturbances in the galaxy. As Dr. Miles studied the information, a sudden alert from the Indomitable's sensors interrupted their analysis. Nathan checked the readout and discovered an incoming transmission from an unknown source. The transmission was encoded and appeared to be of high importance. Nathan and Cran decided to investigate the source of the transmission. They followed the signal to a remote location within the structure, where they discovered a hidden communication array. The array was designed to send and receive encrypted messages over long distances. The decoded transmission revealed a warning message from an unknown entity. The message was fragmented and difficult to interpret, but it conveyed a sense of urgency. The entity, calling itself the Observer, warned of an impending threat that could endanger the entire galaxy. Whoever this Observer is, they seem to be aware of something significant, Cran said. We need to understand the full message and determine if it's related to the Harnai technology. Dr. Miles worked to decrypt the rest of the transmission, while Nathan and Cran continued to secure the Sentinel artifact and gather additional data from the structure. The decrypted message revealed a dire prediction. A powerful and destructive force was approaching the galaxy, and the Harnai had anticipated this threat in their final days. The message also mentioned an ancient Harnai device known as the Nexus Gate, which was said to hold the key to confronting the impending danger. The coordinates for the Nexus Gate were included in the transmission, and they pointed to a distant and uncharted region of space. Nathan and Cran realized that their mission had taken on a new level of urgency. The threat described in the transmission could be the very danger the Zorth were trying to exploit. They needed to locate the Nexus Gate and uncover its secrets to prepare for the looming threat. The crew of the Indomitable set course for the coordinates provided in the transmission. As they left Tharnis and navigated the vast expanse of space, Nathan reflected on the gravity of their mission. The galaxy was on the brink of a potentially catastrophic event, and their actions would determine the outcome. The journey to the Nexus Gate would be challenging and filled with uncertainties, but Nathan, Cran, and Dr. Miles were resolute in their commitment to protect the galaxy from whatever threat lay ahead. As they approached the uncharted region, they prepared themselves for the unknown challenges that awaited them, knowing that the fate of the galaxy depended on their success. The Nexus Gate. As the Indomitable traveled through the uncharted region of space, the crew faced numerous challenges. The area was filled with unpredictable cosmic phenomena, energy anomalies, gravitational distortions, and erratic stellar activity. Nathan, Cran, and Dr. Miles worked tirelessly to navigate through these hazards, using their advanced technology and expertise to keep the ship on course. Days turned into weeks as they ventured deeper into the unknown. The crew's resolve was tested by the harsh conditions, but their determination never wavered. They knew that finding the Nexus Gate was crucial, not only for understanding the impending threat, but also for preventing a potential catastrophe. Finally, after an arduous journey, they arrived at the coordinates. They emerged from a dense nebula to find a massive structure floating in space, its form both awe-inspiring and foreboding. The Nexus Gate was a colossal, ancient construct, built into the side of an enormous asteroid. Its surface was covered in intricate carvings and glowing symbols that pulsated with an otherworldly light. The structure was surrounded by an energy field, and the crew had to maneuver carefully to approach it. Dr. Miles detected a series of energy signatures that suggested the presence of defensive systems designed to protect the gate from unauthorized access. Once they safely docked, the crew prepared to explore the Nexus Gate. They suited up in their space armor and used a specialized shuttle to approach the gate's entrance. The surface was adorned with complex symbols that seemed to shift and change, creating a dynamic and mesmerizing pattern. Inside the Nexus Gate, the atmosphere was unlike anything they had encountered before. The space was vast and cavernous, with walls lined with glowing crystal panels and energy conduits. At the center of the chamber was a massive, pulsating orb, a central nexus that seemed to be the focal point of the entire structure. As they approached the central nexus, Dr. Miles analyzed the structure with her scientific instruments. "This is remarkable," she said. "The Nexus Gate appears to be a central hub for an advanced network of energy and information. It may hold the key to understanding the threat mentioned in the observer's message." Crown examined the surrounding data terminals and discovered that they were equipped with advanced interfaces that required Harney input to activate. "We'll need to input the correct sequence to access the information stored here," Crown noted. "I suggest we use the symbols and patterns we've seen throughout the gate to guide us." The team worked together to decipher the symbols and input the correct sequence into the terminals. As they did so, the Nexus Gate came to life, and the chamber was illuminated by a series of holographic projections and displays. The projections revealed a complex network of stars and planets, with several key locations highlighted in the holographic map. One of the highlighted locations was a remote star system on the edge of the galaxy. It was marked with a red warning symbol, indicating a significant and imminent threat. The projections also provided data on a massive energy disturbance that was rapidly expanding towards the galaxy. Dr. Miles studied the data closely. The energy disturbance is consistent with a type of cosmic event known as a hypernova. It's a catastrophic explosion of a massive star that could potentially destroy entire star systems. The team realized that the impending threat was far greater than they had initially anticipated. The hypernova would not only pose a danger to the galaxy, but could also disrupt the balance of the cosmic forces that held the galaxy together. The projections also revealed a possible solution, a series of ancient Harney devices known as the stabilizers, which were designed to counteract such catastrophic events. The devices were scattered across the galaxy, and their locations were marked on the map. Nathan, Cran, and Dr. Miles knew that their next mission was clear. They needed to locate and activate the stabilizers to prevent the hypernova from wreaking havoc on the galaxy. The task would be challenging, as the stabilizers were likely hidden in remote and dangerous locations. As they prepared to leave the Nexus Gate, the crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. The fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders, and they were determined to succeed in their mission. The journey ahead would be filled with peril and uncertainty, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay in their path. With the data from the Nexus Gate in hand, the Indomitable set a course for the first location of the stabilizers. As they departed, Nathan glanced back at the massive structure, knowing that the answers they sought were just the beginning of a much larger and more complex journey. The galaxy was in turmoil, and the crew of the Indomitable was at the forefront of a race against time. They had the knowledge and the will to confront the impending threat, and they were prepared to fight for the survival of all that they held dear. The final gamble. As the Indomitable shuddered from the shockwave of its own reactor's explosion, Nathan Allen faced a stark reality. The ancient human warship had achieved a significant victory, but it was now on the brink of collapse. With the Zorth fleet in disarray and their retreat in full swing, Nathan knew they had only moments left to secure their place in history. The bridge crew was exhausted but resolute. The damage reports were grim. The ship's systems were failing one by one, and life support was rapidly deteriorating. Nathan, gripped by a profound sense of duty, was determined not to let their sacrifice be in vain. He turned to Cran, whose earlier skepticism had transformed into respect. "Cran, we need to get a message to the Galactic Council patrol fleet. Tell them that the Indomitable has done its part, and we're in critical condition. They need to hurry." Cran nodded, his face a mask of focused determination as he relayed the message. Nathan watched as the transmission went out, a last hope for rescue in a desperate situation. Meanwhile, in the engine room, Chief Engineer Mike Donovan and his team were working against the clock. The reactor's overload had been jettisoned, but the damage was extensive. Sparks flew and alarms blared as they attempted to stabilize the remaining systems. Donovan's hands moved swiftly, trying to keep the ship's core functions operational despite the strain. "We've rerouted power as best we can," Donovan shouted over the din. "But we're running on fumes. We need to get a distress signal out before we lose everything." On the bridge, Nathan's mind raced. The Zorth, now regrouping and limping away, were still a threat. Their retreat was not entirely assured, and if they decided to regroup and come back, the Indomitable would be vulnerable. He had to make sure that the Galactic Council patrol fleet arrived in time to prevent any further threat. "Engage the emergency beacon," Nathan ordered, his voice firm. "We need to make sure they hear us loud and clear." The emergency beacon flared to life, sending out a signal that would hopefully penetrate the vast distances of space. Nathan could only hope that the Council fleet was close enough to respond swiftly. As the Indomitable's hull groaned and the lights flickered, Nathan addressed his crew. "You've all done an incredible job. We've faced the impossible and emerged victorious. Now, we just need to hold on a little longer." The crew, despite their fatigue, managed to smile at Nathan's words. They knew their chances of survival were slim, but they took pride in their accomplishment. They had defended their honor and showcased humanity's spirit. In the darkness of space, the remaining Zorth ships continued their retreat. The explosion of the Indomitable's reactor had dealt a blow to their pride and resources. As they limped away, the Zorth commanders were left to contemplate the unexpected strength of the human warship that had nearly turned the tide against them. Back on the bridge, Nathan noticed a new signal on the radar. The Galactic Council patrol fleet had arrived, their ships emerging from hyperspace with precise timing. Relief washed over him as he saw the familiar sight of Council ships taking positions around the Indomitable, their advanced technology providing a much-needed shield. Cran's voice crackled over the intercom. "The Council fleet is here. They're preparing to take over the defense of the station and secure the area." Nathan's shoulders relaxed, and he allowed himself a moment of relief. The battle was over, and the Indomitable had proven its worth. The once mocked vessel had demonstrated that even the most ancient of technology could hold its own against formidable foes. The Galactic Council fleet quickly assessed the situation and began stabilizing the area. They provided emergency support and began the process of evaluating the damage. Nathan and his crew, though exhausted, were given medical attention and rest. The Indomitable, battered but not broken, was towed to a secure location for repairs. As Nathan looked out at the stars, he felt a deep sense of accomplishment. They had faced overwhelming odds, held their ground, and demonstrated humanity's indomitable spirit. The story of the Indomitable would be remembered as a testament to human ingenuity and bravery. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council convened to discuss the implications of the battle. The Indomitable's unexpected victory had changed perceptions and fostered new respect for humanity. Nathan's name became synonymous with resilience and courage, and the Indomitable would be remembered as a symbol of humanity's potential. As the crew of the Indomitable prepared for their next chapter, they did so with pride, knowing that their actions had made a lasting impact on the galaxy. The story of their battle would inspire future generations, proving that even in the darkest moments, the light of human determination could shine through. And so, the tale of the Indomitable and its crew came to a close, but their legacy would live on, a beacon of hope and a reminder of the strength found in the human spirit.